Before we get started on this episode of Real Nerds Podcast, remember you can connect to the Real Nerds in many ways. You can follow us on Twitter at Real Nerds. You can go to our website, realnerdspodcast.com. You can like us on Facebook. You can also call us 720-6nerds5. Thanks for listening and enjoy the show. Welcome to Real Nerds Podcast, unofficially the official podcast of Denver Comic-Con 2016. To get tickets to Denver Comic-Con, log on to denvercomiccon.com and buy tickets. If you're wondering when Denver Comic-Con happens, it happens June 17th through the 19th at the Colorado Convention Center. George's Jaunty will be back this year.
Yeah!
Hopefully. Because he was also supposed to be there last year, and then we texted him, and he said, I'm there? I have a table? He didn't know he was supposed to be there.
Well, he knew he was supposed to be there, but he had alerted them he wasn't going to be there, and they hadn't taken down his table. So he was like, yeah.
But we had fun with it last year.
It was pretty good.
Did you send that to him yet?
No, I haven't. I don't have his address.
You are the worst.
I know.
I guess we'll give it to him this year.
Yeah, we could do that. Yeah.
What's the coolest signature on there? Is it Tim Sale's Batman?
Tim Sale's Batman's pretty fucking cool.
Yeah.
Like, the fact that he sketched a Batman on it is pretty awesome.
And also just speaks to how great of a guy George's Jaunty is.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure we have an awesome interview with him about 2 years ago that I'm still waiting for the show up.
Yeah, I think it's sitting on the drive waiting for somebody to upload it.
Yep. Is it sitting on the drive?
Yeah, I think so.
Has it been edited?
Yeah, I think so. Anyways,
so
Ryan, you sound like garbage.
I know, because I'm sick as fuck. And
I'm
my
sorry.
wife doesn't care.
She doesn't.
And she's a nurse, and it's really disheartening, guys.
Yeah, you'd think that she would, give a damn.
Yeah, she'd, maybe show up in, like, sexy nurse clothes, but she's not.
Doesn't she wear that every day? Isn't that, like, her job?
The scrubs are, like, I mean, she looks great in them. Actually, my favorite color of hers, she has this peach color that I absolutely adore. But they don't have, like, busty V-neck nurse outfits, which is really kind of a bummer.
I'm starting to get uncomfortable about this.
Why?
I don't know.
See, the 50s were a better time when nurses would show cleavage.
This is what happens, people, when you raise your kid on the Dick Van Dyke Show.
Yeah.
As he comes out being like, how come stewardesses aren't more attractive?
Nah, the Dick Van Dyke Show is very progressive.
It is.
Because Laura Petrie wore pants. She wasn't... That was the first person
I know.
woman to wear pants on TV.
Dude, those people had beds in the same room.
Yep.
I mean, not the same bed, but beds in the same room, people. It's crazy.
It is. And they, like, kiss all the time.
Theoretically, if they had a bed in the same room, they might have sex once in a while.
I know. They have a kid. I don't know how he got there. Stork?
Magic. 50s television taught me that kids just come down from the upstairs every now and then and are suddenly introduced into the show.
It was funny. In the Dick Van Dyke Show, he was a big part of the first 4 or 5 episodes, and then I think Carl Reiner wised up.
This kid is shit.
Oh. Hi, Dad! Oh, yeah. Freaking Richie.
Yeah.
There are some great episodes, though, when you find out his middle name is Rosebud, and why it's Rosebud. It's great.
Man, I need to watch that show again.
You should. It's a brilliant show. But every week on Real Nerds Podcast, we go see a new movie and we podcast our experience to the world. This week, we saw The Revenant.
Yeah.
Starring one Leonardo DiCaprio. Yeah. Stay tuned to the end of the show when we talk about it.
Nobody's talking about, like, the movie or, like, how brutal it is or whether it's good or not. Everybody's just talking about, like, this is the one where he's going to get an Oscar for it. And I'm like,
I don't think he's
the best one. You're talking about the bear, right?
Can we? Yeah, right.
The bear's the one that's going to get the Oscar.
I just mostly mean, like, hey, can we talk about the movie? I want to talk about the movie. I don't really give a shit about the Oscars.
I will say a funny thing about, I went and saw it at the AMC Bowls, which, it's the one AMC I don't mind going to because you have assigned seats and it has, like, recliners on it. But I had to see it yesterday, like, at 7, so I got maybe the last seat in the theater. But it was actually a really good seat. It was in the second row there, and, you can recline there. So this, oh, Zach, you're on the show. Hi, Zach.
Hi, Zach.
Hi.
This is such a low-key show compared to last week.
I know, it's mellow. It's like NPR style.
We all gotta, this is our palate cleanser from a film explosion.
Yeah. So anyways, I was sitting basically right in the middle in the second row, and this couple sat down next to me, and so The Revenant, there's lots of quiet parts.
Yeah.
Where he's trying to survive.
where he's in the cold,
Yeah.
not moving much.
Yep.
Having icicle
And-
beards and whatnot.
Yeah, his beard's frozen, and he's thinking about how frozen his
Yeah.
beard is.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, that stuff.
yeah.
And man, I'll wait till it gets because there's actually kind of a spoiler part.
Okay. Yeah, that's
so
fine.
I'll wait. But it's a really funny story. But
Cool.
so I can't say it because it's a spoiler part.
That's fair. Totally fair.
So yeah, we'll review that. We'll talk about movies that we've been watching, what's coming out on Blu-ray, movie news.
Yeah.
There's actually some movie news this week.
Yeah, I got some of that.
Cool. And yeah, I would say box office stuff, but it keeps on being Star Wars.
Yeah,
Except the Revenant might win this week.
it might.
Shocking
Yeah.
everybody.
Yeah.
But when you've already made $800 million, I don't know how many more times you can win a weekend.
Yeah.
Well, let's find out, guys.
Yes.
Star Wars again.
Yep.
What do you?
we're-
You're a pretty big part of that. How many times have you seen Star Wars, Zach?
6 times.
See, there you go.
6 times.
So you're like $60 of it.
Yep. Well, more than that because I went to the marathon at AMC.
Oh, so the
Westminster.
$60 one.
Yeah, $60 plus.
So you're like $110 of it.
Sheesh.
and that's not including all the Star Wars merchandise I bought at the. I got this.
Obviously not a Ray merchandise.
Not Ray merchandise. No, just Star Wars logo stuff.
Ooh, that's cool.
Yeah, I know what
I
you're
like
talking
that.
about.
I like
See,
that
now.
jacket.
did you like my sly joke there?
I see what you
Yeah.
did there. That's what we call commentary, guys.
Yes. See, I'm not just a real nerd. I'm also has my pulse firmly on pop culture.
Indeed. But no, I got the Galaxy Premiere sweater at the premiere of Star Wars Force Awakens.
Cool.
I've just found out that this thing on eBay is going for $150.
Dude, I'm
Nice.
gonna beat you up and sell that thing.
My friend was like, "You're sitting on a coal mine." I'm like, "What are you talking about?" It was
Well-
like 2 a.m. when he texted me this.
You're safe for at least another like 50 minutes until they draw the Powerball numbers. And if I don't win the Powerball,
You're coming for my
I'm coming for your jacket, man. I gotta get that paper one way or another.
to the Colorado Lotto Company. If you are hearing this, my life is in danger.
One is if someone
James's
doesn't.
numbers are 5, 6, 7, 8.
They're saying that if someone doesn't win it tonight, it's going to go up to like $1.7 billion.
Yeah. Dude, I don't buy Powerball tickets, but when somebody says, "Hey, you have a chance to win $900 million," I'm like, "Yeah, I got $40. You want $40?"
Yep. I also want to point out that Jackie Earl Haley followed us on Twitter.
I know. That was pretty cool.
Between him and
don't
Melissa
even know
Joan
what-
Hart, we got the 3 names of celebrities locked up.
Yeah.
But you know what's funny is our most popular tweet we've ever had, besides one that I'm not going to talk about, but
Yeah.
Our most popular tweet that is goofy is I just tweeted that, "Oh, Ash vs. Evil Dead killed it tonight," and then I just tagged the show, Bruce Campbell, then 2 actors in it, and Ash vs. Evil Dead retweeted it, and so now it's been like retweeted 100 times, and
Yeah.
I'm like, it's the dumbest tweet I've ever tweeted as our most popular one.
Yep. That's how the internet works.
That's the tweets you don't expect are the ones that are going to get the most attention.
It brings up a good subject, though, Ryan. You want to talk about what we've been watching?
Can I talk about what's playing at the Alamo first?
I guess so.
Hi, this is Tim League from Alamo Drafthouse, and I've got 5 reasons why Anomalisa is the must-see movie of this season. Number 1, Charlie Kaufman is hands down the greatest storyteller of our generation, and I dare say that this might be his finest storytelling yet. Number 2, this is like nothing you've ever seen before. We've seen animated films before, we've seen stop-motion animated films before, but really there's a look and a feel to this world that is so unique and so special that you just have to lay eyes on it, and it's a full cinematic experience. You must see this in a theater. Number 3, an obsessive attention to detail. This movie was shot 2 seconds a day. It took 4 years to make with a huge animation crew. You can see from the very first shot the attention to detail. Just looking at the close-up of David Thewlis's face, you can see hundreds of hair follicles blowing in the breeze. Number 4, the best actor and best supporting actor and actress performances of the year. Yes, they're puppets, but I maintain that Tom Noonan, if there was any justice in the world, would be nominated for Best Actor, Best Actress, Best Supporting Actor, and Best Supporting Actress for this role. And number 5, this is a perfect essay on loneliness, isolation, and love that I think just about every human being in the world can relate to. And those are the reasons why you absolutely must see Anomalisa this season.
For you
Cool. At the Alamo next week is the BBS story, Head.
I don't know what that is. What's the BBS story?
I have no idea.
Okay.
Inglorious Bastards
somebody should
is
check that out.
continuing the Quentin Tarantino run.
Sweet.
That's my favorite Tarantino movie. 400 Days. Zach?
Ooh,
Which one is that?
I'm stumped too. Actually,
Man.
wait, 400 days or 400 blows?
400
No,
Days.
400 Days.
I have never heard of 400 days. Then
It's a new little indie thing, I think.
Yeah.
Oh,
can't
okay.
remember.
Then I have not heard of it.
In a Lonely Place is Skyfall with James Ellroy.
Cool.
Ooh,
Video Vortex is Bad Magic.
Ooh, that sounds cool.
Fantastique is Conan the Barbarian.
Cool.
what is best in that?
Hopefully it's the Arnold Schwarzenegger one.
Oh,
That's entirely possible.
that's right. There's another one. It could be.
I have to watch it because I'm doing the comic book movie thing. And the Blu-ray that's $5 doesn't have any special features on it.
For the remake or for the original?
for the remake.
Oh, okay.
But there's the 3D Blu-ray has 4 hours of extras on it.
Ooh, so you should get that one.
I know, but it's $20 used.
Borrow from Randy. I'm sure Randy's got it.
On Blu-ray though?
Yeah, he loves Conan.
Yeah, but he doesn't have it on Blu-ray. 'Cause
Which I didn't know, which was entirely embarrassing when I was like, yeah, but who cares about that? And
Yeah.
he's like, I literally have this shit tattooed on me. And I was like, oh, fuck.
You know,
the
sometimes
worst.
some movies appeal to people that
Yeah, dude, I like Conan.
yeah, it's all right. PBS Kids at the Alamo is a Lego movie, James's favorite movie from 2 years ago.
Hell yeah, it is.
Was that 2
No,
years
last
ago?
year. Last year, yeah.
NRW presents Overtime with Al Snow and John Wells. If it's the Al Snow from WWE, then I'm on board. But yeah, that's what's playing at the Alamo next week.
They're also showing, on the 19th, they're showing True Romance again, which will be my last chance.
And on the 24th, they're showing my favorite film of all time, Jackie Brown.
Are they?
Yes, they are.
Man.
That's your favorite film of ever?
Yes, it is.
I gotta-
I got that on Blu-ray a few weeks ago, and I haven't had an opportunity to watch it because it pained me. I traded in my PlayStation 3 because I literally have not turned it on in a year.
Yeah.
So I was like, and I already have Uncharted, and I
Yeah.
got Tomb Raider.
Once I
and
have Uncharted and The Last of
The
Us
Last of
again,
Us.
I'm like, okay, I guess I'm ready.
And so I traded in. I got all my games in my PS3 at Tradesmart. I got like $200 for.
Nice.
So I just been getting like random shit.
That's the funny thing is I've traded in all my PS3 games, but I haven't traded in my PS3 yet. So what the fuck is it for?
Yeah.
Like, I don't know why I have it.
It's
And then
a
I
cool
was-
Blu-ray player that you can give to Randy.
Yeah, right. Yeah. Hey, that's not a bad idea.
The funny thing is I traded it in and I asked the guy, and I was like, oh fuck, I forgot to take my PlayStation Network stuff off of there.
Oh.
And I was like, you guys wipe these, right? He said, yeah. So I changed the password to my PlayStation Network anyways.
Yeah, I was gonna say, no, they don't.
Because if they don't, some dude seriously got like Mortal Kombat, a bunch of
Ooh.
like free games on there, all the Mega Mans.
That's
So
true.
someone's got like a sweet deal when they buy that PlayStation.
Yeah, and probably
They've got a golden ticket.
some good save files too. Like they
do.
Not just copies of Mega Man, but clears of Mega Man.
Yep. So So I changed my
If you want to
password.
jump right to Heat Man and fight Heat Man, you can do it.
But see, the real reason I changed it, because my PlayStation Now account or PS Plus, you literally just have to select the game and it buys it.
Yeah.
Like I don't make it that I have to put in my password again. That's stupid.
Right.
And
You're
so
just like let's make it as easy as possible to spend money on PlayStation.
yeah. So you gotta be careful with that.
I hear you.
So anyways,
That's how my Amazon is set up. It's even
Oh,
more
dude.
dangerous.
my
on my
Amazon
phone.
My Amazon. So like, if you didn't have to use my fingerprint for my phone, dude, you could buy anything on it.
Oh, yeah.
Because I still have my Apple Wallet set up, so when I buy stuff on Fandango, it just goes right there.
The passbook thing?
Yeah. So, but Amazon, you literally just click it.
Uh-huh.
Like it doesn't say it says one click to buy.
Yeah.
But mine isn't like, oh, you have to select the product. It's like you just hit it.
Yeah.
And on the iPhone, if you hold it down, it just buys it for you.
Yeah.
So there's no like, oh, I got to find the right button. Nope. You just hold it down.
That's
Yep.
only for Prime members, or is that...
No, I think it's just an Amazon thing. Cause
I think it's an Amazon
They
thing,
just
yeah.
want anybody, as long as you're logged in, like, because sometimes, like, between services on Sunday mornings, I'll be like, just bombing around on Amazon. I'm like, oh crap, I could buy all these things. I
Right.
could buy all the blue. I got into a bad habit where, like, all of a sudden on Sunday afternoon, I got like 3 text messages that are like, "Hey, your Blu-ray has shipped." I'm like, "Oh, what did I buy? What's coming?"
I did that with Ant-Man. Like, I know you said it was coming out, and
Yeah.
because I haven't bought it because I wasn't working for a long time, so
Yeah.
I kind of way scaled back my Amazon purchasing, obviously. But
Like a reasonable human
yeah,
being.
but at the same time, I want things in 3D when they're like movies I really want because one, the covers are cooler. And Amazon, I think Ant-Man ended up being like $17 on 3D.
Yeah.
But what I do if I really like the movie, I'll be in the theater and I'll literally put pre-order. Mm-hmm. And so I was at school and I got a text message it said, your Amazon shipment of Ant-Man has shipped. I'm like, oh fuck, I totally forgot I ordered that. So I went home and watched Ant-Man.
It always gets really dangerous around Christmas time because I put stuff on my Christmas list and give it to people and go like, oh yeah, this is movies you can get for me. And then I'm like, I really hope I didn't pre-order any of those. Yep. Because Amazon's actually really bad about like, in your order history, it stays in the order you bought it. So if you bought it 6 months ago, it's 6 months ago in your order history, and you got to comb through it to find it.
It's so funny because I pre-ordered the Mega Man amiibo. Oh, geez. As soon as they announced amiibos, Mega Man was one of them. And so I pre-ordered it, and for a while, amiibos were really hard to find.
Yeah.
Like, you couldn't get them anywhere. I think the Mega Man one's still pretty hard to find. But, so I pre-ordered it, and I just forgot about it, and one day it showed up.
And you're like, oh, that's where my money went.
Yeah, and it was funny, too, because Amazon, after that, wouldn't take pre-orders on them.
Yeah.
And if you kept on...
Because they didn't know when they could fulfill them.
Exactly. So if you would check online on Amazon, it'd say unavailable.
Yeah.
You can pre-order it, and we'll let you know when it becomes available.
Yeah.
I stopped... we'll talk a little bit about what we've been watching lately, but... I started going through Amazon like a hound because most of the stuff that I want to find nowadays, I can't find at Second Spin or Tradesmart anymore.
You got to be pretty lucky to find some of that stuff.
Some of these classic ones that we'll discuss later, like they're not available anymore, sadly.
Oh yeah.
And if you find them, you have to take the frickin' stickers off, but you can get them at a cheap price if you find them at Second Spin. But I've been finding them on Amazon I picked up the Warner Brothers Gangster Collection for $17.
Nice.
That thing used to go for $69.99.
Yep.
I could not believe it.
Sheesh.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yep. I swear Amazon too gives you sales prices on stuff like just your browse history.
Yeah.
Because, I'll get saying recommendations for you. I can remember this being on sale a few days ago.
Well, and they're really smart where like I've gotten really good at using my wish list, and they will track like, hey, since you put this on your wish list, it's gone down 4 cents, man. Is 4 cents how much you needed?
Yeah.
Is that what you were waiting for? You were like, hey, Sicario, $22.99. Hey, now it's 4 cents less. Is that low enough?
Well, that's what I love about Amazon though too, is if you have a problem, they will fix it immediately.
Yeah.
One of my favorite stories.
They'll be like, no, 4 cents is enough? How about 5?
Yeah. My favorite story on Amazon, my Halloween box set, that had a sync issue too.
Yeah.
I don't know if you got one that didn't have the sync issue.
Yeah.
It's not too noticeable except when they're shooting guns, at this one point. But I send an email to Amazon saying, hey, I heard you guys will just send out replacement discs. And the guy from Amazon said, oh, we don't have any more replacement discs. We'll just refund you the whole thing. I was like, okay. So now I have, like a quarter of a second sync issue for 10 minutes in the movie, but I got the $120 set for free.
Yeah. Did you buy a new one?
No.
Oh, okay.
No, they just
You were
refunded
just
me.
like, oh, okay.
Little trick, the disc that they put in the replacement one is literally just the same disc that they gave out for Halloween 4 before the box set came out.
Yeah. So,
So
I mean,
it's
if I
just
really
that
want to, I
better.
can just go pick up Halloween 4.
Yeah.
But who's really buying Halloween
Yeah.
4? Let's be honest.
Oh, I think Halloween 4 is.
Is that the one where he's on a boat?
No.
No.
Is that the one where he's got where there's porn stars everywhere?
No.
That's a wrong franchise. Wrong franchise, James.
Dude, I don't know nothing about these movies.
Hey, speaking of movies, this is what we watched this week.
Oh, we got movie side! This is my boomstick!
I love being a turtle!
You're getting your wishes, so sit down!
Great Scott! The line must be drawn here.
Damn you all to hell!
And you will know my name is the Lord when I lay my vengeance upon thee.
Now you're getting nasty.
We went on a long tangent there. About
did.
Amazon.
Yeah, man.
But Amazon Prime's the way to go.
If you just in case you haven't heard about this Amazon thing, it's getting big.
Yeah. So I'm really excited to talk to James about Blood Rage.
Yeah.
So I don't know if you've been listening to the podcast, but Blood Rage has been put on like
They've been
delayed.
A pedestal.
Yeah.
More like it.
Yeah.
It's been delayed, I don't know, 6 months?
Well, because every week, like, I specifically try to look for these dumb horror movies that are getting released. Like,
And
they're not
Daddy
dumb.
knows that I'll buy.
They're right, but they're like really nice Blu-ray releases of like super campy older horror films. And we've talked about Blood Rage probably 4 times because it keeps popping up as like, hey, it's coming out this week, and I'm like, wait a second, I feel like and then by the 3rd or 4th time, I was like, okay. We've definitely done Blood Rage before because it's a cover that you look at it and you go like, oh, okay, like it's because it's just real straightforward.
Yeah, and so it's funny because
Just the fact that you own it, I kind of like we talked about it enough. I just want to hold it.
Yeah, I'll show it. Do you want me to go grab it for you?
No, it's okay.
You know what? I'm going to grab it for you, James, so you can look at it while I talk about it.
Oh, okay, all right, great. That's going to be really, really worthwhile because it is such a piece of legend that like, wait, this isn't what the cover looks like at all.
Take off the cover.
No, I've been looking at this thing on Amazon for that's not it either.
Open it up.
Neither of these covers are. Well, how far do I have to dig to find the cover that I saw on the internet? Oh my goodness.
There you go. It's a reverse cover.
Oh, okay. It's way deep in there, man.
I just like that cover more. That's why I flipped them.
Oh no, it's a way better cover.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So the cover that James is talking about is like some douche guy with a knife.
Yeah.
And
he just looks like a trucker with a machete.
yeah, but the funny thing is, James, is he's not a trucker. He's like this preppy guy. So let me set up Blood Rage
With that
for you.
hair and that like receding hairline, he's a preppy guy?
Yeah.
Can I introduce it really quickly?
Yeah.
Ladies and gentlemen, now presenting for your enjoyment the synopsis of Blood Rage.
Thank you. On a dark night at a drive-in, 2 kids are in the back seat while their mom is fooling around with their boyfriend.
Wait, what?
Yeah. So
That you said it and I was still staring at the cover and I was like, wait, did he just say that the mom is banging the boyfriend of the lady?
Okay, so this is what happens. So they're at the drive-in, and the kids are awake, but they think they're asleep, and the boyfriend's like, forget about it, they're asleep! And so then the kids sneak out of the back of their station wagon, and while they're sneaking out the back, Ted Raimi makes an appearance as a condom salesman. And there's an...
a common
A common thing
job.
that comes to your door each and every
The
day.
funny thing is I haven't watched it yet, but he's in the movie, I don't know, maybe a minute, and there's an interview with him on the Blu-ray. So I'm interested.
Oh.
Anyways, so while the kids are going out, one of the boys, Todd, grabs a knife and murders, Terry or Todd? I forget which one. It's Terry and Todd.
Let's just say Todd.
Yeah, and they're twin brothers, played by the same guy at the end of the movie. But anyways, so he kills this guy, and then he smears blood on his brother, and the police think it's his brother. So his brother's put in a mental institute. But guess what, guys?
This is making a murderer shit.
The real killer is out there.
Well, yeah.
And he...
Do people not know there's 2 of them?
No, they do.
Is it like a prestige thing where it's like, holy shit?
No, they know there's 2 of them.
Okay.
But they think the crazy one is in the mental institution and the
Right.
sane one is out. But no, my friend, this crazy one is the guy who's on the out. And so the movie is that his brother escaped from the mental institution, like Halloween.
The good brother.
Yeah. But they're like, oh no, he's going to come and cause problems.
But there's no room for ARG.
But he's not. He's actually gonna like give money to homeless shelters.
No, he's coming to stop his other brother, dude.
Oh, okay.
His other brother that's full of blood rage. He really doesn't say that in the movie, but I wish he did.
Yeah.
But what he does say is, it's not cranberry sauce.
It's literally on the cover of
Yeah,
the movie.
because-
this Thanksgiving, it's not cranberry sauce.
Because he kills all these people on Thanksgiving, and he keeps on licking the blood, and he says, it's not cranberry sauce.
Which, when you said that the
You
first
know.
time, it sounded like a line that should have been in the Thanksgiving trailer for Grindhouse.
yeah,
exactly.
Yes, exactly. Yeah.
So this movie is so stupid, but in like a super campy, that it's kind of fun to watch way.
Right.
Not that it's a horrible movie. Like, there's nothing cool about it. So there's this one part where, so the bad brother is murdering people.
Right.
And,
As you do.
Yeah, as you
when
do.
you're a bad brother.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And so the doctor that's looking for the good brother who thinks he escaped shows up at the mom's house and she gets murdered and she's chopped in half and the good brother
Is
stumbles.
this the mom of the brothers?
Yes.
Okay.
So it's follow along if you can.
I'm trying.
Yeah.
I'm doing my best, Ryan.
So anyways, so she gets murdered, the doctor, and the good brother finds her body and she's like cut in half, and he picks up like the lower half of her and puts it back together with the other part of her and goes, no! Yep. That happens in that movie.
So, like,
As if he had to reassemble it to make sure it was his own mom.
He's like, this looks like her top half, but my mom always had legs.
So here,
I wonder if these legs are hers.
so here, you know, I'll just bring this back from the beginning. So in the Lego movie, or Lego guys, you know how their legs come in half exactly like that?
Yeah.
That's what it looked like. And so he put it back to get her back together. And
then he goes, no.
yeah.
Yeah, he waits. Yeah, he waits because he can't identify her without legs.
But the best part of it is every time he grabs a murder weapon, it plays 80s synth music. And so let's say you pick up a knife, and you know in slasher movies the camera's always on like the blade. So he picks it up and it'll go boom, 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 doom, 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 boom, doom, boom, doom, boom, doom, doom, and he murders a bunch of people. And at the end is played by the same guy, the brothers.
Yeah.
But they always do like over the shoulder shots.
Are they ever in the same shot together?
Yeah, but it's
do
like
they ever do that composite thing?
they don't do the composite. What they do is they do
yeah.
over the shoulder, and the dude's wearing a wig that's like so bad. And at the end, the mom kills the bad brother.
With the mom that's dead?
No, so the doctor's
It's a different
dead.
mom.
No, the doctor's,
the doctor's dead. Oh,
yeah,
I'm
the
sorry.
mom shoots the bad brother, thinking that he is the bad brother. Okay, so it's hard to explain.
He shoots the bad brother thinking it's the good brother who she thinks is the bad brother.
Exactly.
Yeah, no, it makes sense.
So, but when he says, "No, Mom, you shot Todd," she goes, "Todd, I shot Todd, no!" And then she shoots herself, and that's the end of the movie.
No.
Yep.
What?
Because he's like the tennis star, and he has really cool hair.
Oh, so like the goth kid is actually the good kid.
Yeah, but they all look the same.
sort of yeah. Oh,
Yeah.
oh, okay.
It's-
Well, of course they look the same because they're played by the
Yeah,
same dude.
it's a really bad.
They're played by the same dude. Looks like a trucker.
So that's my really long description of Blood Rage.
That's pretty great.
What year did it come out?
83, but it wasn't released until 1987.
It's always a good sign.
But what I'm interested in is there's actually a different cut of the movie. It's released in America as Nightmare at Springwood. I don't even remember. But they had to insert a bunch of other things because it was too bloody. And,
I just like the title "Nightmare at Springwood." That's good enough for me.
yeah. So yeah, it's another Arrow release, and I on my top Blu-rays of last year, I put Society on there from Arrow, and they do a really good job making movies on Blu-ray.
I like this cover
because they take really crappy movies that no one cares. See, my next one I'm getting from them is The Mutilator.
So what doesn't make sense here is like the cover here is so it's a Thanksgiving table in the background. This is
it takes place at Thanksgiving.
No, I figured that out. Because why the hell else would anybody say it's not cranberry sauce?
You have cranberry sauce all year long.
It's Easter. It's not cranberry sauce.
The Easter bunnies said let's go kick the Easter bunny's ass.
So it's a Thanksgiving table, right? And then in front, like in the foreground, there's just a severed hand holding a crushed tin can.
There is a part.
Is it a tin can of cranberry sauce?
Yeah, I think so.
Dude,
But there's he's not holding.
it is cranberry sauce.
There is a severed hand in it. He isn't holding a can of cranberry sauce, but he chopped some dude's hand off.
Okay.
The special effects are by the guy who did T2 special effects. I guess that's a big deal. We all got to start. We all got to start somewhere, right? No, not Stan Winston. I also watched iZombie, which is
The show.
the show.
Cool.
And it's made by Rob Thomas, based on a DC comics.
Rob Thomas, the singer?
Rob Thomas, the Veronica Mars creator.
Oh, yeah, I like him.
Yeah, and the show is actually really good.
Really?
Yeah, it stars this girl named Liv. Her name's Liv Moore.
Oh, I hate it already.
But anyways, she's this med student who's about to become a doctor, and she's about to become a heart surgeon, and her fiance picks her up at the hospital, and she says, "Oh, I was invited to this party." And he says, "You should go to a party. You never go to do anything fun." And while she's at the party, a zombie outbreak happens.
Uh-oh.
And she gets scratched by a zombie, and she dies.
Right.
But she comes back.
Right.
And so in it, she
and
solves...
then she eats her boyfriend.
No, she solves crimes by eating people's brains that come in, like murder victims.
That's awesome.
And so when she eats them, it's kind of like Warm Bodies, where she gets like their memories.
So it's like pushing daisies, like in
Yeah.
a creepy, like it's a detective thing, but
Yeah.
all these people are dead, and I
it's-
have to eat their brains.
And the cool thing is
Cool.
it's a lot like Angel, where each episode is self-contained.
Yeah.
But there's an over arc to the
Right.
show.
Yeah.
the show's really good. It's pretty fun. It has a Veronica Mars vibe where she does voiceover throughout the whole thing.
Cool.
And they have, I mean, the mysteries are, TV mysteries, so it's not that great, but it's still pretty gory. And
It was the jealous boyfriend the whole time.
yeah, stuff like that.
Yeah.
But it's cool because she doesn't understand why she's a zombie, and there's other zombies around town. And what happens if they don't eat is that's how they decay and become the zombies that people know.
So in this world, once you become a zombie, you start off being like a person, but you used to be dead.
Yeah.
And if you don't eat brains, you turn into like a mindless zombie.
Exactly.
Oh, okay.
And there's no coming back from it far into the show. But it's cool. Like they have the other like doctor, and he's pretty funny in it. And it's really witty, like Veronica Mars.
Yeah.
So I actually think it's Veronica Mars with zombies. And
cool.
I was actually shocked. I picked it up because I got a gift card to Best Buy for my in-laws. And when I was at Best Buy a couple weeks ago, it was like $9 the whole season. I was like, whatever.
Yeah.
I've heard good things about it. And yeah, I had a lot of fun watching it.
Very cool.
So I was,
check that out.
so I was pleasantly surprised. The only bummer is it's only on DVD. And
What?
Yeah. I know.
Oh. I think it's on Netflix then. I'll just watch it on Netflix.
I'd watch it on Netflix because at least Netflix, it'll be like $7.20,
Yeah.
So yeah, I was really surprised on how much fun I had watching iZombie because when I first read about it, I was a lot like you, James. Like that looks stupid. I don't want to watch that. And I
it looks like one more zombie show. Like it seemed like it was just in the on the bandwagon.
But it's pretty clever. Sorry, I watched a lot of stuff. I watched Cake, which is the Jennifer Aniston movie.
That's that one where on the cover she's just staring at you and she looks sad?
Yeah.
Okay.
In it she plays this lady who suffers from chronic pain, and you kind of find out more about her as you watch the film. You kind of find out that she was involved in an accident that killed her son. And so she's this really kind of horrible person now because she's kind of shut off from the world, and she's a drug addict, and so she's addicted to the pain medicine. And she's really good in this movie. And the movie is actually, it's weird that they pitch it as this drama, but it's actually kind of a black comedy where Jennifer Aniston, she's in this support group, and one of their support group people kills herself, who's played by Anna Kendrick. She throws herself off a highway. And so the movie kind of opens with this, and everyone's sad, and Jennifer Aniston says, "Isn't it true that she jumped off the highway and she fell onto a used furniture truck, and they didn't find her until he got to Mexico?" And so it's like this really weird, like black comedy like that, where you laugh at it. Wow. Like, should I be laughing at this? But she's really good in it, and throughout the course of the film, she meets Sam Worthington. And he doesn't have an American accent. He keeps his Australian one, so that's good.
Oh, good for him.
And he
way to act.
Yeah, he plays Anna Kendrick's husband. So she kind of lies to him about meeting him because she wants to see how her husband's handling losing his wife, because she wants to, my guess is, quantify it with what she's going through. Right. And so they kind of just become friends. And while she's there hanging out, she starts hallucinating with Anna Kendrick. So Anna Kendrick is kind of like a ghost, and she says, "What are you doing with my bed, you fucking slut?"
Is she like a wacky cool ghost?
Yeah, it's really, she's like pretty funny in it.
Oh,
like
okay,
I said,
good.
she pops up and says, "What are you doing in my fucking bed, you slut?" She's like, "Hey, I didn't sleep with him." "Yeah, but you're in my fucking bed with my husband." It's pretty funny. And the movie's actually really good.
When you told me that Anna Kendrick dies at the beginning, I was out, and then now that she comes back, I'm like, okay, all right.
Yeah, and it's just a really fascinating exploration. It came out 2015. It'll probably be in my top, 30, just because there's so many good movies, but it was better than I thought it was going to be.
Cool.
I also watched Superhero Movie.
Wait, like the scary movie, superhero movie?
I remember going to see that in the theater that was like the movie of the week for high school. When you're in high school, you have your movie of the week.
Yeah,
that was one of the movies of the week.
I don't think it's horrible. I mean, it's not a good movie, but there's actually some pretty clever bits in it.
Sure.
Isn't Leslie Nielsen in that?
He
one
is.
Too?
Oh, good.
Who does he play in it again?
He plays Uncle Ben's character. Yeah, I mean, there's pretty stupid parts, but it's also produced and written by the Zuckers, so it kind of has an airplane vibe to it. I mean, the parts I laughed at the most is Stephen Hawking is in it, obviously not him,
Oh,
but
okay.
he's going on his wheelchair and he's at this science fair, and this student comes up and she says, "Mr. Hawking, I want to show you my diorama of the planets." And he's like, "Wow, you have a great ass." And she turns us like, "He's astronomy career ahead of you." It's like stupid shit like that. And then he falls into this killer bee exhibit and he goes, "Ow, shit, shit, shit." It's stupid, but it's funny. Every once in a while, you just have to watch stupid stuff to get over it. And the last thing I watched is my comic book movie thing continued is Dylan Dog, Dead of Night.
Is that the movie with Superman in it?
Yep, with Brandon Routh. And
Yeah.
I went up and it's one of the lowest grossing superhero movies of all time. It's made like $1.8 million.
I love the zombie support group scene.
Yeah,
it's
see,
funny.
here's the thing: it's not the disaster I thought it was going to be.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's not great. But when you see a movie that does so poorly and no one had any faith in it, the Blu-ray literally has no special features on it.
Wow.
You're like, oh man, I don't know. And so it's about Brandon Routh. I don't know. He plays a private investigator who his job before all this was he was in charge of keeping the vampires and the zombies and the werewolves like in check. So he would basically work for them and keep them hidden from everybody. But then the vampires killed his wife and he went ape crazy and he killed all the vampire elders. He shot them all. So he doesn't do that supernatural investigations anymore. And it's really cliched. There's lots of cliched parts in it. He has a partner in it, and he's his assistant, and his partner says, "Man, when are you going to make me, your full-time partner?" He said, I bet you didn't know this, but I work alone." And he has stuff like that, and there's a part where he's with this girl, and he says, "I won't be the one to tell you this, but your dad was killed by a werewolf." And there's always these beats in it, and it's not that Brandon Routh is bad. It's just the writing's not good.
Yeah.
And I mean, there's some cool parts. There's actually a really sweet, transformation of one of the vampires. But it's not that good. And the werewolves in it look like, the 90s Tales from the Crypt werewolves, where they're not convincing at all.
Yeah. Is it better or worse than Priest?
It's worse than Priest.
Okay.
Priest at least has really good actors, and I thought Priest was shot really well.
Oh, okay.
This one seems like a guy put a camera there, and it's like, okay, you're fighting a fucking vampire, dude. I don't know.
I don't know. Punch it, man.
Yeah.
Punch it.
It came to the theater that I worked at back when it was released in theaters, and I was waiting for it for so long because I remember the Comic-Con panel. And I don't know. I agree with you. It's nothing special by any means, but there's a bit of a charm to it that I totally dug.
I don't think it's a total disaster.
Oh yeah, and Brandon Routh, I've said this before and I'll say it again, he's a talented guy.
Yeah.
He certainly knows how to entertain, for better or worse.
I don't think it's his fault, the movie. I mean, I think the directing in it's really bland.
Mm-hmm. I'd agree.
And it's, it needed to be rated R.
I definitely agree on that one.
But it
would have been a lot more fun.
There's some clever moments in it, but I mean, again, it's not as horrible as I thought it was going to be. But it's nothing special. And that's what I watched this week.
Cool. Cool. Zach, what have you watched recently?
I didn't watch Blood Rage, sadly.
It's not the cranberry sauce, bro.
It's not the cranberry sauce in my life. What did I watch this week? I've been through the classics ringer since I've been, just kind of recollecting, reassessing my collection and now transferring it to Blu-ray.
Cool.
I've been picking up a lot of stuff, but I've also picked up some DVDs and stuff.
Yeah.
And so I watched Rio Bravo on Blu-ray.
Ooh, cool. Rio
Bravo on Blu-ray looked incredible.
Really?
But that movie in general still holds up as just one of John Wayne's best.
Yeah.
It's also got Ricky Nelson and Dean Martin plays the dude, which is really, really cool. Plays a drunk gunslinger who's trying to go sober. So it was a great character that I've seen Rio Bravo before, but I hadn't watched it through an older lens, being older and seeing it, seeing all the different things in between it. Cause I think I saw Rio Bravo when I was 12. Yeah. And it's a different experience when you're much older. And it also, pretty much the movie Assault on Precinct 13 is Rio Bravo.
Right.
So, you're watching the origins of that, which is really neat. There's also a commentary on the Blu-ray by John Carpenter.
Oh, cool.
And a film historian. I can't remember his name off the top of my head. So I watched that. I watched Gone with the Wind on Blu-ray.
That's a good movie. Man.
And to iterate, part of why I picked up Gone with the Wind was that I've been picking up a lot of 70 movies that were not either a roadshow engagement or shot on 70 millimeter. After going to the Hateful Eight, I got really into the idea of like, well, I haven't
Getting
watched something.
smacked and like then kissing somebody.
We'll talk about it in a second, Ryan.
Does anybody want a Happy Hippo?
What the hell's a Happy Hippo?
They're like these
So you got chocolate?
like chocolate filled little crispy crackers.
Yeah, I'll have a Happy Hippo.
They're pretty good.
Yeah, I'll take one. Sounds good.
But so
Do you want
anyway,
a Happy Hippo?
Sure, I'll have a Happy Hippo.
I got those for Laura and I put them in her stocking, but in truth, I really wanted them, so I eat them.
Wait, do I eat the whole thing all at once?
No, dude, you gotta savor each bite because it has like chocolate sprinkles on it.
Oh,
They're
man.
they're pretty good.
Oh,
Oh,
God.
it's shaped like a hippo in the water.
All right, so fuck the podcast. I'm going to promote Happy Hippos now.
You can get them at World Market. But while you're eating
Oh, that's
that,
fantastic.
yeah, while you're eating that, Zach, that's actually one of my next things I'm going to do too. That's why when you asked me what movie, I was like, well, I'm eyeballing Lawrence of Arabia. Not, I've seen it, but I haven't seen it in a long time.
Yeah.
Because I have that. I still need to watch Casablanca again, Gone with the Wind. I have The Maltese Falcon.
Yeah.
I have all these like cool movies from 30s and 40s that I really want to watch.
Yeah, and so Gone with the Wind, like, to get to that is that I can't really talk much about the story because that's a debate in and of itself that could go on for hours. What I will say is that I found it very stunning on Blu-ray, like visually, the visual technique and camera work in that film is absolutely incredible, and especially on Blu-ray, it looks magnificent. Like the transfer is amazing.
It's amazing that on Blu-ray, like a fence in front of a like matte painting looks amazing. Like those early shots of like the sun rising, and it's not real, but you're really just on a small set of a fence and like somebody riding a horse up to the fence, and you're like, this is gorgeous. Like it looks so good.
And that Gone with the Wind is a great movie. Is pretty amazing because the tumultuous production of that film is unbelievable.
Well, it's just so long.
And if you go through the Blu-ray, they talked about like it's a long movie. It's 4 hours long.
Yeah.
I had to watch it in segments.
So for it to stand up, 40 years later, 50 years later, and still be
it's more than 50
entertaining
years.
movie.
It's
Yeah,
like
right.
70, 75
Yeah,
years.
you're right. Shit, man.
1939, baby.
Yep.
So it's- for it
Hollywood's best year, according to my article, which you can read at realnerdspodcast.com.
For it to still be an entertaining movie, because there's a lot of movies like that, Lawrence of Arabia being one of them, for me at least, where like it's great, but then there's also parts where you're like, oh man, like this is sluggish. When I watched Gone with the Wind, it was 2 years ago when I watched it for the first time, and I'd never seen it before, and I was just like enthralled the whole time, going like, this is great. Like I thought I was gonna like get a little bored and pay attention to something else during parts of it. Not at all.
God, Happy Hippos are my new favorite thing.
They're like cookie eclairs.
Yeah.
Because there's filling, there's chocolate and cream filling on the inside of like a cookie hippo. Mm-hmm. This is fantastic.
I just love the name too, Happy Hippo.
Yeah.
Because hippos are really scary in real life, but I think as cartoons, they're really funny.
Uh-huh.
Especially when they wear tutus and dance around with crocodiles. Fantasia!
Tchaikovsky, was that
Uh,
music they're using of that one?
Tchaikovsky. Or Stokowski.
Stokowski.
Leopold Stokowski.
Yep.
And then he meets up with like, hello, Leopold! Anyway, Gone with the Wind. Visually holds up. I can't really speak to the story because the story, again, like I said, is a controversial issue. Yeah. But Clark Gable is still amazing in that movie. Oh, yeah. And also on the visual front, I don't know what they did to clean it up, and I don't know what print they were working off of. But the scene where you see all the soldiers lying on the battlefield, that's like a painting on Blu-ray. It's absolutely beautiful painting on Blu-ray. So the other films that I got in this big collection that I got was The Public Enemy.
Nice.
On DVD, sadly.
Did you get
they don't have it on Blu-ray.
Did you get the Golden Year, like the Warner Brothers set from 1939?
It has the documentary on it. It says 1939 Hollywood's Greatest Year. But I didn't get the
did Warner Brothers put that out? I think they did.
Yeah, Warner Brothers put out Gone with the Wind on Blu-ray. Yeah. So yeah, it has a documentary called 1939 Hollywood's Greatest Year, which has it talks a little bit about Minnetonka, Stagecoach, Mr. Smith Goes to Washington, all these other films.
Washington.
It's such a good film.
Who doesn't? Oops, sorry, buddy. Who doesn't love fucking Jimmy Stewart? Golly.
Mary.
It's not that Jimmy Stewart. It's a different type of Jimmy Stewart.
I just can't help it. When I think of Jimmy Stewart, I just want to. My mouth's bleeding.
Mary, it's not my money. It's the bank's, or it's not the bank's money. It's my money and your money and his money. Oh. That's my favorite. One of my favorite Simpsons gabs is when Bart walks into the bank and goes, "What do you mean the bank is out of money?" But anyway, The Public Enemy, one of the first gangster movies. Well, not one of the first gangster movies.
Michael Mann's.
No. No.
I said the same thing. In the
William Wellman's The Public Enemy with James Cagney. And it is.
Does this one not look like it was shot for a History Channel reenactment?
No, it looks like it was shot like a movie.
Oh, good. Oh,
Yeah.
good.
Sorry, Michael Mann.
Our man, Public Enemy, see? That's Mike Cagney.
That's your Robinson. But that film still holds up, and visually that's interesting. There's this one cool scene where, so basically the movie's about Tom Powers, who rises up as a gangster during Prohibition. Standard story that you've seen before in some of these older gangster movies. There's this beautiful scene where one of their old enemies, that goes on the lam after a job goes south, is walking down the street and a black cat crosses his path. And you wouldn't think any of it. It's just a black cat crossing the path. And then all of a sudden, that's when James Cagney and his partner come down the road and grab the guy and take him into the room and shoot him. So it's just like stuff like that, like good little choreography. It's almost like Scarface when you see the X's in Scarface, the original 1933 Scarface.
I was gonna say, what?
Yeah, not
the abomination.
Not
Everybody thinks
the
is great.
Not the
not
overrated.
the Pacino.
The most overrated movie of all time.
Agreed. And then I saw two other films. The first one being The Hateful Eight, which I got to watch, and I put it on my list as number one of the year, mainly because I feel like that film is. Ultimately, it comes down to how much fun did I have during a movie.
Yeah.
And that's the one I had the most fun at, because I usually have fun during Quentin's films.
Cool.
And this one in particular reminded me of some, like, Dirty Dozen meets How the West Was Won type of vibe, which is really hard to. It's hard. There's a lot of different comparisons you can make. You can also compare it to Agatha Christie story like 10 Little Indians, or you can compare it to a bunch of different things. But ultimately, what I loved about it was the roadshow engagement, but also the story in general. Like some interesting social commentary in there that I don't know if it was intentionally put in there or not. But like when you get to the final scene, like I thought that final scene was the most mature, some of the most mature writing and execution of shot delivery in Tarantino's career. I thought it was an absolutely wonderfully mature piece of work that I thought. I'm sad that it's not getting the attention that I think it deserves, but again, it is my opinion on what I think of that movie. So ultimately, it's what it is going to be. But I've seen it twice now, and I'm going back again tomorrow night.
Cool.
Like I'm pumped. We got another Tarantino movie, guys. It's awesome. And then the last
apparently only going to get 10, so. That's why it sucks so bad when he does one.
Out of context, James. Out of context. The last movie that I saw was a documentary called "You Must Remember This: The Story of Warner Brothers."
Cool.
Now, there's a reason that I'm bringing this up. So on this podcast before, I've talked about the MGM story "When the Lion Roars," which if you have Gone with the Wind on Blu-ray, you have that disc.
Sweet.
And it's 6 hours of Patrick Stewart narrating the story of MGM,
Dude.
which is the most hilarious thing on the planet.
That's cool.
Until I saw you must remember this, with Clint Eastwood narrating the story of Warner Brothers. And at some point in Warner Brothers history, they get to Clint Eastwood's career. And that's when Clint Eastwood gets introspective.
He gets to narrate his own
when they
story.
show clips of him
And this
with...
is when I made fun of Mexicans in Gran Torino.
Then I was the pale writer, and I got there, and they said, Clint, don't talk much. You're just gonna shoot people.
And I didn't know what to do, but they told me I was in the line of duty.
There's a part where they're talking about Every Which Way But Loose, which if you haven't seen Every Which Way But Loose, you are you're such sad people. It's a wonderful movie where Clint Eastwood hangs around with a fucking monkey and goes...
Actually, is it orangutan?
Orangutan, yes, sorry. An orangutan. Thank you, Scott Schulte. The documentary, when they get to that part about, like, when Clint was talking about working with a monkey, I said, Clint, are you out of your mind? And then it cuts to Clint narrating, going like, people thought that I had gotten off my rocker.
And the whole time, it's the most surreal thing you've ever heard.
Yeah, and then he starts talking about, like, Unforgiven and Bronco Billy, and I'm like, oh, okay, these make sense. But when he's talking about the monkey, or the orangutan movie, I'm like, oh my god, this is the most hilarious thing I've ever seen in my life. Because the documentary's taking itself seriously, and Clint's doing a good job narrating it. But it seems that when they get to his involvement in that studio's history, it turns into his unofficial autobiography. And I absolutely love it.
When I got to the set for Paint Your Wagons, they said, Clint, can you sing and dance? And I said, you're damn right I can.
You know why? Because I'm Clint.
You just watch me dance.
Watch me paint that wagon.
I'll dance on your neck.
Gonna paint your wagon. Gonna paint it.
Just stay off my lawn.
Here's a 5-point suppository. What? I said stick it up your ass. So that's also
That's what you watch.
And also check out the Clint Eastwood series. It's going to be continuing. But I watched Gran Torino again.
Cool.
I'm going to save my big thoughts for the review to read online. But
Sure.
that film was so good. But I just realized if I ever read that the Alamo does a quote along of that movie, I'm going to find Steve. I'm going to find Steve and go, that's a bad idea.
Yeah, right.
It's like one of those things where it's just like, nobody should be doing quote alongs to begin with, in my opinion. But to do a quote along of Gran Torino, if somebody were to do that, I'd be like, I gotta see how this plays out. $10. Here we go.
I got to set and they said, now Clint, are you comfortable saying a lot of racial slurs? And I said, I invented racial slurs.
And he's like, wait, I'm a Republican. It's cool.
Hey!
Talk to this chair.
Oh, man.
Anyway, that's what I watched this week.
They said, hey, Clint, we don't have a song to end this. And I said, did you ever see Paint Your Wagons? Because I can sing and dance.
Bitter hums and bitter dreams grow.
Gran Torino.
And I'm laughing because I actually do love it. Like, I have that song. I do have that song on my iPod, and I will listen to it and because when it gets to the Jamie Cullum part, that's when it gets beautiful, and it's like, oh, this is a beautiful melody.
Eventually it gets...
But when he's singing at the beginning, you're just like, wow, this is really interesting.
And seeing it in theaters, like, that song starts, and I remember sitting with my parents and just going, oh no, what just happened? Where am I? And why am I doing this? Anyway.
It's a good movie.
We'll move on.
Anyway, moving on. James, what did you watch this week?
So, a couple of things. I watched a little movie called The Petrified Forest.
Really?
Yeah, that Zach actually got me yesterday for Christmas, which was really nice. And The Petrified Forest is it's sort of the breakout movie for Humphrey Bogart. And he plays this...
That's Duke Mantee,
right.
The world famous gangster, and he's hungry.
You can tell he's a murderer because his chin. And he, so it takes place in a diner / gas station out in the middle of nowhere, out in the desert.
A last chancer.
Yeah. Literally, like, the first scene is like some guy like, hey, this is your last chance to get gas, in some car that like probably, runs out of gas every 10 miles anyway. So there's one of these every 10 miles out in the desert. And they're at one of them, and there's this pretty girl. She likes poetry, there's sort of this meathead there, and he likes to hit on girls, and then this like intellectual dude comes into town, and he's from Europe, and he doesn't have any money, and they talk for a while, and she just becomes infatuated with him because he basically symbolizes for her like everything that she actually wants in her life. Like she wants to be able to get out of this little last chance gas station and like go see Europe and be an intellectual and like be a part of society in a bigger way, but she feels very stuck in the desert. And then this gangster shows up and basically holds them hostage for the second half of the movie. And that's Humphrey Bogart. And it's based on a play that they had done for a while, and apparently this is exactly like the script. It's a really cool movie. It's a very like, it reminds me a lot of A Good Man Is Hard to Find, which is the Flannery O'Connor story. Which, I mean, I hate to admit I like A Good Man Is Hard to Find a little bit better, but you can't make a TV or a movie out of that. And Bogart is really cool.
Talking like that to an old man.
Yeah. The one thing, so Zach and I talked about this in the car. So you're supposed to like this French dude. Cause he really is like the main character, sort of the movie. Like, he and Bogart end up having these conversations and this whole back and forth, and that's a big part of what's good about the movie, is watching those guys, talk. The problem is that when he introduces himself, like, he's like very, highfalutin and like, oh, I'm the last of the intellectuals, and like, I'm probably the only man in the world who can tell you about nature and about all this stuff. And he's just like, it's just way over the top. And so I read when I'm watching the movie the first time, I'm like, dude, this guy's clearly either an asshole or a serial murderer. Like, this guy is not a good guy. I thought for sure and they talk about like, oh, this gangster's coming into town or is out there and he might come by. And so I was like, oh, this guy's the gangster. You just don't know it. Like, I thought that was going to be the twist. No, I'm supposed to like this guy. I just didn't realize it because he was being such a dick. So that was unfortunate, but just one of those things about when you go back to some of those older movies, like the first time you watch it, you don't always read it correctly the first time.
I know that in that Kiss Me Deadly, Mike Hammer, he's like the main character and he's a piece of shit. So
yeah, it happens.
It's a character that it's. I've written a couple different papers on this before, like this film before, because I do find it fascinating. It's a guy who essentially is trying to find the answer to the question of how do I fulfill my life without money, without love, without fame and stuff like that. It is a good question to ask in a period of time when nothing was being churned out but musicals.
Yeah.
In the 30s and stuff. So it's highbrow for its time. Yeah. And I just find it fascinating. I would easily put it in one of my top 25 movies of all time.
Yeah. I think it's a good movie once it's over. And once I realized like what it was actually doing, I think it was just, it's heavy handed because that's just the way it was written. And today watching it, I misread the heavy handedness, which is just, it's a danger when you're going back to and seeing those movies slightly, not out of context. Well, culturally out of context.
Right.
Do you guys know what the last movie Humphrey Bogart was in?
Cars.
It's not Beat the Devil.
No, I don't.
It's Last Action Hero.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
You're teamed up with the 1939 digitized version of Humphrey Bogart.
That's funny.
He also appeared in
cheating.
Tales from the Crypt.
To quote Looney Tunes back in action. Well, that's just cheating.
So I also started watching Ash vs. the Evil Dead.
Nice.
Which I'm 2 or 3 episodes in now. I can't remember. I don't know. They found her mom.
Yeah, that's a great episode. I still think they should be an hour long.
Yes.
The 30 minutes is too short.
Yes. Because they end up feeling like, I think the reason they did it is that they end up feeling a little bit like a skit, like an Ash skit, So especially like that dinner sequence is a really great sequence, but that's basically the whole episode.
Yeah.
To some degree.
And I don't know if they did that too, because I think maybe they don't know how much of Ash people can take. And that's the thing with Ash is, everyone thinks he's, this really cool guy, but his character is really not that good of a person.
No.
And
I love when they're like, when the detective comes and it's interviewing his neighbors, and they're like, oh, he's just a real asshole.
Yeah.
He's always bringing hookers over.
Yeah.
And this one time he brought him over, and then he's like shouting like weird incantations and doing spells and stuff. That was weird. Yeah.
the season finale is great.
Yeah. Ah, man. Yeah.
Because
I'm really enjoying it.
they he does something in it that is so his character
Yeah.
that if you didn't know the character, it'd probably piss you off because you're like, why would a main character do something like this? But it's right up Ash's alley, and it's so when you get there, we'll talk about it because I don't want to spoil it.
No, I probably won't talk about it again until I finish it. The whole style of like the way that they go into the opening title seat cards and all that
Yeah.
stuff, and like just how over the top the blood and
yeah.
violence is, and it's not like it's almost so silly that I'm like, oh, I could show this to my mom. She wouldn't enjoy it. Like she wouldn't watch it and
it's
be
Evil
like,
2 Dead.
It's Evil Dead 2, yeah.
Evil Dead 2 gore, where it's
Yeah.
so over the top. You're like,
yeah. But there are a couple where I was like, that's pretty, like in the second episode when he finally gets what's the second episode? When he gets the mom's head,
Yeah.
and he finally cuts her head off. And that one's like a really slow, like he takes his time taking it off.
I think it's cool that they got
and that
Mimi
one's-
Rogers to be the mom.
Yeah, yeah. She was pretty damn good.
Yeah.
Especially when she's pretending to be normal. She's just like, I just don't remember. I was in the car and I went over the edge and I'm just glad to have my family back. And you're like, ha ha.
Or when he just punches her.
He just punches her. Oh gosh, it was so funny. Like for no good reason,
Yeah,
he
it's
just
awesome.
like hauls off and smacks her.
Yeah, she's
Yeah.
great.
But I was glad that like they play that beat just long enough. If they had taken it and made it be like she continued to pretend she was the mom, I was like, oh man, you're gonna drag this joke out too far. And they got it just right.
Yep, I
you know,
agree.
like they let it play, and then she stands up and she's evil, and he's like, oh good.
You know-
He even says like, oh, I was really starting to feel like an asshole about that one.
And I was really worried because that's the first episode that Sam Raimi wasn't involved in.
Oh really?
I mean, he did the first one and
He directs
directed
the
the
first
first
one,
one. He wrote and directed the first one. The second one is written and directed by the showrunner.
Oh, okay.
And so I'm like, oh man, Sam Raimi, but he did a pretty good
yeah,
job.
like is he
so-
gonna drop off
Yeah,
right away?
But
Yeah.
it doesn't. The show's pretty solid. There's some hiccups along the way.
And I'm sure that
But-
like the Sam Raimi crew is involved enough that like
Yeah.
there's enough direction and
when-
tutelage there.
And when I say hiccups, I mean it's just not every episode can be balls to the wall.
Yeah.
Sam Raimi style. So
Yeah.
it's still every episode's pretty fun.
Yeah. And so the very last thing is that I started sort of as my start off the new year sort of thing. Last year I finally bought all of the seasons of Lost on Blu-ray.
Nice.
So I've been watching through them. So I started that this week and I'm already almost done with season 1. Cause I've just been burning through it. I'm having so much fun rewatching this show. There's so many things where, like little lines of dialogue and little throwaway moments where I'm like, oh shit, like, it's not just a throwaway
Yeah.
moment. Like that's really there for a reason. And like they're really saying something that is not going to pay off for 2 seasons, but they're talking about something very core to this character. Even in the pilot episode, there's little lines about like, where somebody will say to Kate, like, Kate, you don't have to always, you can stop running. Right? And that line is very important to that character. We're not going to find out about that for 6 or 7 episodes.
And see, what's cool is I think, because I watched Lost after I met you, and you kept on saying, no, you got to watch Lost. And I had the benefit of watching, I think, the first 5 seasons in a row, like not interrupted. And I think that's why I love the show so much is because watching it week to week and waiting for a new season to start would be
excruciating.
really hard. You know what I mean?
It was
because
so
they also had the
excruciating.
writer strike at one point. So
They had the writer's strike. They had season 3, and you've got a lot of like television now is a very, very different medium than it was back then. And so you go through. I was talking to a friend of mine about this, and he was like, "Yeah, I have a feeling like when you get to end of season 2, like you're gonna start straining a little bit because he was like, that's about when I remember doing that. And I was like, yeah, you do, because season 3 is the worst season. And the reason it's the worst season is that's when it's not until the middle of season 3 that they made the agreement with ABC to end the show. Because at that time, you weren't allowed to do that. You weren't allowed to write your show to an ending. And so in season 3, and David Lindelof and Carlin Hughes on their podcast that they did along with the show even talked about the fact that, like, there was a point at which they literally just put their main characters into cages because if their characters were out somewhere, they had to progress the story. And if they progressed the story, they were getting closer to an ending that they weren't allowed to do. So it was just like, they had to drag things out, and that's when you get episodes about, hey, where did Jack's tattoos come from?
I love that episode.
But it was frustrating to people who wanted to know more, right? It was frustrating to people who wanted to move forward. Yeah, right. And it's not a terribly great Jack episode. Like when you compare it to like the season 2 opener, where he fixes his wife, like. That episode is one of my favorite episodes of television. You compare it to the Jack's tattoos episode, and you're like, I already get Jack. Like I don't need.
I forget about that episode.
Yeah, like I don't need it. Yeah, like his tattoos say Outlander or Outsider in a different language. Like, okay. And one time he was in Asia and he got beat up by some dudes. Like it doesn't actually affect his character in the way that all the other episodes actually do have an impact.
Yep. I gotta watch that show again.
Yeah, I mean, there's so many little nuggets and like nods to things that are gonna happen. That I'm thoroughly enjoying it, and it's just really fun. One of the plots that I don't remember appreciating as much as I do this time is Sun and Jin, and what an interesting story it is to have these characters that at least at the beginning of the show don't speak English, and the way that causes tension in the group. Like just for them to explore that and say like, hey, what's the paranoia, and how does race like dig its way into that paranoia? If the show didn't have a crazy mystery, that would be a really fascinating thing on its own. And so then you add in like, hey, there's also this weird hatch thing that's got these weird numbers on it or whatever. And there's also some fun things where like, as that guy who watches that show and really loves that show and listens to people gripe about like, oh, they don't answer anything. Or like, oh, this never made any sense. And I'm watching through it and I'm like, they totally knew what they were doing. Like now I watch it and I like when Hurley goes back to the insane asylum and meets the guy who introduced him to the numbers and was just sitting there mumbling about them. Everything he says as he gets pulled away perfectly matches up with somebody who was in that hatch and was tortured by pushing that button constantly. Yep. Like it makes perfect sense. But if you watched that show and you were just like, well, you learned it from that guy, and you didn't piece that together, or you didn't really pay close attention to it. Like you thought you think that doesn't line up. Like you're like, oh, well, that guy, the numbers were over here, and they're over here, and they're over here. Like, why do they line up? Why doesn't it ever make sense? It totally makes sense, and they even write it in a way that it allows it to line up. I'm not saying the show's always perfect. It's just always fucking dope. Yeah, it's so good.
It makes me. Who's the actor who plays Ben?
Michael Emerson.
Every time I see him, I don't like him. I don't care what he's doing. You know what I mean?
I don't care what you're doing, man. I just don't trust you.
Would you like it better if somebody was to say hello to him? Like, hello's up.
I haven't gotten to Ben yet. I'm so excited to get into the later seasons now. They're about to push off on the raft.
Nice.
Yep.
What?
Yeah. Anyway, so that's what I've been watching.
It speaks volumes to me to know that my favorite thing about Lost is when they made that Family Guy joke about, Cade, you don't get it. We are the island.
I'm going to do a segment we haven't done in a while, and this is a comic book you should get.
Hey man, read this.
I told you, I don't like horror comics.
Think of it more as a survival manual. There's a number on the back. And pray that you never need to call us.
We're dedicated to a higher purpose. We're fighters for truth, justice, and the American way.
Now, one of the...
I don't remember how to read.
Yeah, one of my... I love everything about this podcast, but one of the times in the podcast that I was most upset was my favorite Spider-Man writer was at Denver Comic-Con, and he sat down. He said for 15... He could only stay 15 minutes with us. He sat down with us for an hour and 30 minutes.
Oh, man.
And his name is Joe Kelly.
Yeah.
And he's the head of Man of Action Studios. And
he's so good.
He just put out Spider-Man Deadpool #1.
Ooh.
And it is fantastic.
Really?
Because Joe Kelly is a great Deadpool writer. I'm not even a Deadpool fan.
Yeah.
But in Spider-Man 611, he wrote a Deadpool Spider-Man story drawn by Scotty Young, which is one of the coolest Spider-Man stories that's come out in a long time.
Yeah.
And what I always liked about it, and what Joe Kelly is really good at doing with Spider-Man, is he knows Spider-Man's voice so well. So there's part in 611 where Deadpool has this thing where he breaks the fourth wall. If you've seen the trailers for the Deadpool movie, he breaks the fourth wall in the movie.
Yeah.
In the comics, he does that too, and there's these panels where he's talking to the reader, and he's yapping, and then Spider-Man swoops down and he says, "Who are you talking to? There's nobody there." and it's stuff like that where Joe Kelly just gets it.
Yeah.
And so he wrote an amazing debut issue. It's maybe one of the best Spider-Man stories I've read in a long time.
Cool.
And it gets me really excited. You should probably try to pick it up really soon. One, because Deadpool is super hot. And then when people realize that Joe Kelly is the writer, even though they might not know who he is, when they hear his voice, that issue is going to sell out.
Yeah.
And when I was at Colorado Coins, Cards, and Comics, I think they had 2 left.
Cool.
But it's the art's by Ed McGuinness, who did Batman, Superman, and his style is really cool. It really fits the story. And I can't wait because the next issue is called The Invasion of the Goblins. And the cover is Spider-Man and Deadpool like fighting a bunch of green goblins. So I am very excited. And it was really fun to read Joe Kelly do Spider-Man again.
Very cool.
So, yeah, definitely pick up Spider-Man Deadpool.
Neat. That sounds good.
Yep.
Awesome.
What are we doing next?
Movie news.
In other news, the Prime Minister of Sweden visited Washington today, and my tiny little nipples went to France.
I want you to get up right now and go to the window, open it, and stick your head out and yell.
I do the cha-cha like a sissy girl.
Oh, it's the ghost of Stonewall Jackson! Everyone, it's the ghost of Stonewall Jackson!
I do the cha-cha. I'm sorry, we seem to be having some technical difficulties.
Hey, Star Wars made a lot of money.
Yep.
It actually made the most money ever, is what it did.
Yes.
Domestically.
You know how
the
long,
hell you say?
You know how long I've been waiting for a movie to do that?
Right?
Not so much Avatar, but Titanic.
Shove it, James Cameron.
Because I still think Avatar's grosses are not real.
Who was it that was telling me this week that, or did we talk about this last week, that the statistic is that if you...
I pointed that out to you.
Yeah, right, yeah. I keep telling people that. All week I've been telling people, did you know that if you saw Titanic twice, that means you saw it 9 times?
Yeah.
That's not really the way the statistic works.
James Cameron math?
Yeah. No, it's that if you are of the group of people who saw it more than once,
you saw it
the median number of times you saw it is 9 times.
Yeah.
It's insane.
Don't worry, James Cameron's heart will go on and on.
I know, it just used to drive me. And I was pointing out to the guys last week, or maybe it was the week before, that his are the only movies that they've been re-released, and they combine the totals from the re-releases.
Yeah. Well, there were some other. It was inconsistent last week.
Yeah,
they weren't all the same.
That's what I'm saying.
There were some other. He's not the only one, but there. Yeah, it is inconsistent.
Yeah. I still don't understand how it made $2.6 billion worldwide. And I don't believe it. I don't believe it.
Well, he was taking the money he made on Titanic, and he went over to China and just bought a lot of tickets. So he's buying his own movie. He makes so much money on his movies.
I can imagine him doing it now because it's a cartoon in my head at this very moment.
Disney was concerned about Star Wars in China because it never really played well over there. In fact, I think the original movie is only debuted 2 years ago in China.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
And but it broke the single day record of it was like $37 million.
Wow.
So
when did it release in China?
Today.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
Oh, good. Maybe there's a chance.
No, it's still
There's not a
600.
chance.
I think it's still $1 billion behind.
It is, but it's China.
Yeah. So maybe.
I mean, that's where Avatar made a lot of its money.
Yeah,
was
if
in
every
China
single
and
person
Japan.
goes and sees it in China.
Yeah. No. But if
I guess a quarter of the people.
If 1 in 4 people in China goes to see it, yeah.
So who knows? Maybe. I don't think so, but
No, it won't get there.
it might be Titanic. I think Titanic was $2.2 billion.
Yeah,
it might,
but it's
okay.
Still
It's still a better movie.
Still the number one movie in America.
Yeah,
That's right.
America, man.
We're the only ones that matters.
So speaking of Lost, there was a big hubbub this week because some
I
people,
read that.
some people sort of figured out all of a sudden that, there's 15 minutes of the Lost finale just missing on Netflix. That apparently Netflix had gone in because the finale runs in 115 minutes, something like that.
Something like that.
And so Netflix had gone in and just cut out some stuff just to make it a little shorter, which seemed weird. And then some articles popped up after an interview with Damon Lindelof. There were some articles with very inflammatory sort of titles of Damon Lindelof super pissed off about Damon Lindelof firing flaming arrows at Netflix.
Damon Lindelof.
Here's the thing: if you read his interview is actually very playful. Where he's like, "That's weird. Why would they do that?"
Yeah.
I wish I could remember what the very last thing was. He ends the interview with some kind of joke making a murder is really good though. So there's just some very lighthearted thing to it, but still you see it was just that they wanted to make news out of something that really wasn't that much news. You go ask the guy about it, and of course he's gonna go I would prefer that Netflix show the whole thing. So of course Netflix went and fixed it, but it's weird. It makes me wonder.
Change it anyways.
Yeah, do they do that to other shows? Why would they even do that?
That's stupid.
Or is it just some angry, expat fan who works at Netflix who's just guys, I know how to fix the finale.
I'm gonna cut out Saeed.
What if, I could re-edit the ending so that everybody thinks that they were dead the whole time. And then I'll just make the whole internet get
dead
pat.
the whole time?
No, they're not dead the whole time. Every time I see somebody say that on the internet, I'm like, what show are you watching?
Yep.
Anyway, Aaron Sorkin's next movie is going to be directed by Aaron Sorkin.
Cool.
Which seems cool. He's,
I think
been
he has
involved
his
enough.
I think he
The
has his hand
hallways
down.
are going to be within the hallways and within the hallways.
Yeah. Or maybe this. Maybe he's going to make a movie where there's no walking and talking in hallways because, guys, maybe he didn't write in the hallways. Maybe directors have just always been fucking up his movies and putting all his dialogue in hallways. Maybe he's just frustrated. He's like, man, would somebody make one of my movies and not put all the dialogue in a hallway? It's entirely possible.
Be great if that's the interview that he gives to
Yeah.
James Lipton years later.
Yeah,
He's like, I don't know what the fuck they've been doing.
Man, every time that's why I give my movies to a different director every time because I'm like, maybe this guy can not put my dialogue in a hallway.
Oh, that would be so funny.
Yeah. So there's a petition out there. There's a bunch of people who would like George Lucas to direct Episode 9 instead of Colin Trevorrow.
Did they see The Force Awakens?
Well, yeah. Did you see Jurassic World? No, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. I would much rather see Colin Trevorrow, who I just hope learned some lessons on Jurassic World, make that movie. But
Jurassic World's a fun movie.
It's weird. I don't know why these people are so delusional and what happened to them. Were they dropped on their heads at some point? Have you seen the interviews with him lately where he's just a complete dick about everything?
Yep.
He's like, Disney's a bunch of white slavers.
Yeah.
And I don't know, I'm just so bitter and angry. How can you be bitter and angry with $4 billion?
He donated $1 billion of it.
Oh, good. How nice of him.
So he doesn't have to pay taxes on the other
he
stuff.
donated $1 billion of it so that he can be angry at Disney. Is that the way it works? It's just, why would you want that guy to be involved at this point? He doesn't even want to be involved. He's like, I'm going to make movies and put them in my basement and nobody can see them.
No, this is how he said it. He said, I'm going to make movies by myself.
I'm gonna make movies and put them in my basement so nobody can see them. Which is fine.
I'm sorry, George Lucas, but that is how you sound.
Yeah. It's really too bad. He is so important.
He is.
And such a big figure. And American Graffiti is one of my favorite movies of all time. and it's such a shame to just watch him turn into an asshole as he gets older. He just sounds so like watching
Sounds
those interviews.
petty.
Yeah, he sounds petty. He sounds ignorant. And I genuinely think that like because he was very positive about the new movie before it came out. I think he genuinely wanted it to fail. Like I think he expected that it would come out and that fans would do the same thing to it that they did to his movies. Because I think he was so delusional that like he was right and the fandom was just a bunch of jerks.
Well, yeah, because he even says in some interviews, he says, "Well, I wrote something, then they just threw out my ideas."
Right.
Yeah, because they're probably shit.
Yeah, right. Because it hasn't gotten into his head yet.
If I can play
Right.
devil's advocate for a minute.
Sure.
It sounds like I think he's... This is tough. 'Cause I really don't want to... I do like George Lucas as a director. I actually do.
I do too.
And I like him as a writer to a degree because of the way his...
Look, I don't have a problem with him as a filmmaker.
But the way he's acting, I think part of it is being taken out of context with clickbait articles.
Yeah, but I mean, it can't be an hour-long interview with whoever it was
with Charlie Rose.
Yeah, with Charlie Rose, can't be taken out of context. Like
I know
you watch that thing and you're like, well, I just watched the
you
context.
could have caught
for
him
it.
on a bad day, like sometimes you have a bad day.
Don't make excuses for him.
Yeah,
Zach.
I'm like, this is the same year where we all crucified Josh Trank for doing this.
That's
like,
true.
If he had directed this Star Wars movie and did this, and he weren't George Lucas, he never works in Hollywood again.
That is a good
Ever.
point. That's a good
like
point.
you just don't do this.
That's a good point.
Yeah, like it's frustrating and very disappointing. And if I'm Steven Spielberg, I'm calling him every day and going like, dude, you got to shut up.
James, you look so sad. Do you want some ice cream? Well, here's a big bag of rock salt.
Oh man, that's a good one. Yeah.
Copyright Patton Oswalt,
Right,
2007.
Anyway, moving on. But also speaking of George Lucas, the Alamo has acquired the rights to Raiders, which is the like documentary / fan film where those kids remade shot for shot Raiders of the Lost Ark during their entire childhood. So that's cool. That means that we'll probably get a cool Blu-ray release of that when they get to release it. So I'm excited. And then finally, I should have talked about this back when we were talking about Netflix. It's an article where Netflix is apparently claiming that they believe that Ridiculous 6 is the most watched film of all time.
It's the most watched one on their service.
Right. Which, I mean...
Is that crazy?
It's a pretty good measurement of the most watched film of all time.
People say, why'd they give money to Adam Sandler? Oh, there's a reason.
Yeah. Hey, I watched that movie. I mean, I fell asleep. I was in bed and I fell asleep during the middle of it.
Did it play through the whole movie, though?
Oh, yeah.
Well, there you go. You're one of the you're part
I counted it.
I think I might be the only one who hasn't clicked on it yet. Even out of curiosity.
Here's the thing.
It's not great, but it's watchable.
Yeah, that's the thing is, I'm an Adam Sandler apologist. I don't think he's as bad as everyone thinks he is.
No, he's not. He's fine.
I have fun with him.
Yeah, and I think, especially with a movie like this, I watch it as like hey, I'm Adam Sandler and I got my friends together and we got cowboy hats and we all went out in the desert and shot some dumb thing we did.
Yeah, exactly. That's what it is. That's why I don't really care.
Right, exactly.
That's the thing with Adam Sandler is
I can't get mad at
every once in a while he just does a movie. I think because he wants to do one.
Yeah.
Like he wants to do a Western, so he did that. When he did Little Nicky is probably my least favorite Adam Sandler movie, but he just wanted to do something wacky. You know what I mean?
Make a demon movie.
Or a hell
movie.
The best part of it, Rodney Dangerfield is Satan, but
but I think he wanted to do a voice that was different than all his other voices. Yeah,
and I mean, I don't know. I'm an apologist, and I still think his movies are really fun.
Yeah.
They're never something like Reign Over Me and Punch Drunk Love.
He is also really, really good.
He is.
And that's the only disappointing part for me is like. It's been too long since Reign Over Me.
But see, at the same time, though, how good was he in The Cobbler?
He is really good in The Cobbler.
He is good in The Cobbler.
He's really good in The Cobbler.
But that movie didn't get any release because, for some reason, I don't know. I guess he couldn't market it.
Yeah,
or he's a shoe-making superhero. I don't know.
Right.
But yeah, I don't care. I like Adam Sandler, and I'll be getting Hotel Transylvania too.
Are you gonna buy the Blu-ray of Ridiculous 6 when Netflix eventually releases it?
Probably.
Great. Cool. Well, speaking of that movie you just said, let's do like Blu-rays.
Oh, does it come out next week?
Ignition sequence start.
Whoa, DVDs.
Yeah, baby! Yeah! Oh, yeah!
Yeah, baby! Yeah.
Hotel Transylvania 2 comes out next week.
The only reason it wasn't higher on my list is because all my ranked movies will be coming out this week is because Peanuts and Inside Out came out this year. So.
Oh yeah, man. Sheesh. Yeah. It's a good year for animated films.
So Peanuts made me cry like 3 times.
Yeah. It's really good.
I even like
Inside Out. The second time I watched Inside Out, it made me cry the whole movie.
Even Peanuts when Pigpen gets clean and people don't recognize him, like a tear went down my eye. Like,
yeah,
oh,
it's so good.
Cute.
The Martian comes out on Blu-ray this week, so this is your
Let's
chance
go
to see that
save
again.
Matt Watney.
Yeah,
Mac Watney.
Mark Watney.
Mac Watney.
Mock.
Mac.
So it's like Sherlock the Abominable Bride, which is the
the Victorian special.
Yeah, it's like the Christmas special for Sherlock. It's just one more episode of Sherlock.
I love the title.
They send them back in time to the Victorian era.
Do they really?
Yes.
Wait, it doesn't take place in the Victorian era?
It does, but there's no time travel element.
It's just
back.
It's that they're. Oh, right. Because that Sherlock is set in the modern day.
Yeah.
So this is one that's set in the Victorian era, like normal Sherlock.
It's like a one-off.
Oh, okay.
It's one-off because it's...
I just realized that was even a thing.
Because there are people like me, James, who do remember when Sherlock Holmes used to wear a deerstalker cap and want to see it happen again.
It's not that...
I like when, Sherlock Holmes is in boxing matches.
I think the Elementary is a perfectly fine TV show.
Robert Downey Jr.
I'm going to punch him in his face.
No, it's actually just that I forgot that Sherlock, the TV show, was set in modern day.
Fair enough, yeah.
Because honestly, that show is hit or miss because it's made by that dude.
That dude?
That dude who runs...
Stephen Moffat.
Yeah, Stephen Moffat. Man.
I love that.
He's the George Lucas of London.
The Abominable Bride. That's a cool title.
The Abominable Bride, yeah.
Yeah,
that's a
no,
sweet
it
title.
is.
They're showing it in... I don't know if they've already shown it in theaters, but they were going to show it in theaters for one night only because it's a 90-minute episode.
I think they did it. I think they did it back around Christmas. Darn it. Yeah. Season 1 of Mr. Robot, which is a show, which I haven't seen, but I've heard good things about.
Yeah.
I keep meaning to check it out.
I don't know, the lead character is in some movie I don't like him in, so I don't want to watch it.
The lead character is in Until Dawn, that video game that came out this year, where it's like a horror game. You should play that game. You'd like that game.
I know I want to, but I don't want to pay $60 for it.
No, wait until it's like 30.
Okay.
Yeah, no, or get it for Tradesmart used. Because it'll show up used a lot because it's a game that you probably play once or twice, and then you never play again, because it's like very much a story-driven game. But yeah, you should totally check that out.
I will.
Or do what I did, which is go to giantbomb.com and watch those guys play the entire game all the way through, because that's exactly just as entertaining. It's probably more fun than actually playing the game.
Like Heavy Rain?
Yeah, right.
Lucas!
Yeah. Shit, what's the kid's name? It's not Lucas.
It's not Lucas, are you sure?
Yeah. Shoot. Anyway, moving on. Stanford Prison Experiments getting its Blu-ray release this week.
Second best film of last year.
Yeah.
It almost made it on my top 10.
Way to overrate it there, Eastman. I haven't seen it. I don't know.
No, it is really good. It is
a really good film. Very bleak, but beautiful.
Yeah, the only thing working against it is that you've seen, like, everybody knows that story because, like I talked about on the Film Explosion, like, Veronica Mars did a Stanford Prison episode, and like every after school special has done an like you've seen the story, but they do a really amazing job of like, hey, this is what actually happened.
Yeah.
And it's kind of disturbing, but also really fascinating.
And Gennaro gives a really good performance in that movie.
Yeah.
As John Wayne.
Yeah.
Jason.
Jason is the name. Jason. Oh, man.
Following the balloon in the mall.
Yeah. Hey, that game is good, but man, that game is dumb.
Yep.
Sinister 2 comes out on Blu-ray this week. Was that a meh?
Yeah.
Okay. I couldn't
all
remember.
right.
Oh yeah, that's right. We talked about that because you get the Belloc or whatever.
Bagul.
Belloc is the villain from Raiders of the Lost Ark. You get a lot more Bagul in this one.
Yep.
Yeah.
It's not as effective.
Right. Some kind of movie called Howl.
Yep.
It's got some kind of werewolf thing on it.
Yep.
The O is a moon.
It looks really cheap though, doesn't it?
It looks super cheap. It looks like it's made of cheap. There's a movie called The Irrational Man, or just Irrational Man.
That's Woody Allen's newest movie.
Oh, is it really?
Yes, it is.
Oh, that's too bad. Because I wasn't interested because it had Joaquin Phoenix in it, and then I was interested because it's got Emma Stone in it, and then you said Woody Allen, and moving on. There's a 10th anniversary Blu-ray release of The Devil Wears Prada, which I think is like a big badass version of that movie.
I think Laura likes that movie a lot.
A lot of people really like that movie. That was a very popular movie. Yeah.
I haven't mentioned how much I love Emily Blunt.
Emily Blunt's really good.
She's awesome.
Yeah. Samurai Cop 2, Deadly Vengeance.
Don't worry, I think Brad already has that Blu-ray.
Oh my god, that movie.
Yeah, so there's that. Okay, here's a good movie. The Look of Silence, which is a documentary from last year. I talked about it. Joshua Oppenheimer, who did the not the Killing Fields, The Act of Killing. It's a really fantastic documentary that you should absolutely see. About genocides in the Philippines that no one talks about. Like they happened, and like the generation, we're only a generation removed from it, and no one in the country really talks about them at all. It's really fascinating. So definitely worth checking out. And finally, Phantom from 10,000 Leagues from 1956.
I thought that came out last week.
That does look like, yeah, we talked about this.
Yeah.
Well, anyway, it was still here. Maybe
It's
it came
a
out, maybe it
Corman
didn't.
film, isn't it?
Yeah, I think it is.
Am I thinking Corman or Harryhausen? I'm thinking one of those two.
No, I don't think it is.
Anyway, that's Blu-rays.
Very cool. Just the movie.
Yeah.
This week, the real nerds went and saw The Revenant. Zach, should people see The Revenant?
Do we need like a
especially when you say it like that?
Do we need like a bear growl after every time you say
sweet.
that?
Should I would not hesitate to recommend people go see it, but I gotta be honest, there were some moments in this movie where I was really bored. and we'll talk about it in the spoilers, but Leonardo DiCaprio gives such a good performance that it's worth watching for that alone. Like, it's a torturous performance. Like, holy shit. It's so, yeah, go see it, and go see it in the theater. It demands that type of attention. Anyway, yeah.
James?
So yes, with a caveat. I really loved this movie, and I think it's great. It's if it had come out in 2016, it would absolutely, or 2015, it would absolutely.
You like
been
a
on my
movie
list.
about survival?
Right? Yeah, exactly. Yeah, right.
Did you see the trailer for the Free State of Jones before yours?
No. Oh, okay.
See, I'm more special than you.
Oh man.
And I saw the red band for The Nice Guys again.
Oh,
see if you go see that AMC.
Man, well, yeah, but if I go to the AMC, I also get 15 trailers before my movie.
Yep.
So the caveat being that this movie is really, really brutal, and I went with a couple of friends of mine, one of whom I literally looked over at one point, and she had her eyes completely closed, and when the movie was over, looked at me and said, "I did not enjoy that." And it wasn't because like she didn't enjoy the story; it was just that like the experience of this movie is really rough to watch. And there's some stuff like there's a lot of animals dying and like just
who cares about that?
Just rough things to see. They're really done effectively. So if you think you can stomach that, then yeah, I think you should see it.
Yeah, I thought this movie was really good. I think Alejandro Inarritu, I don't know how to pronounce it. Inarritu. I think he tells stories with his camera extremely well.
Yeah.
This movie had Birdman style shots.
Yeah.
But I thought were way more impressive.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's not one long continuous shot, but he does some things in it that like the beginning of the movie when they're attacked. Okay. yes, you should go see this movie.
Right.
I actually think Tom Hardy is better than Leonardo DiCaprio in it, but
doing his I'm living up in the mountain joke voice.
Yep.
It's doing his voice from Lawless. Is what he's doing.
But yeah, so here's a trailer for The Revenant.
I ain't afraid to die anymore. I've done it already.
Okay.
No,
that way there's no kill.
The way it's like the camera movement and how it relates to each arrow getting shot through every single person.
Yeah.
Like there's people who are just like going like, like in such a way that I'm just like, I'm trying to keep up with the intensity of it, and it does work. It's
but
beautiful.
I think what makes it so effective is you don't know where the Native Americans are as well, because
oh yeah,
it's the way it's shot is it's literally tracking,
Right.
throughout. It's like you're the way it's shot is you're a person there, and you're moving and watching everybody get shot around you.
Right.
And I guess we should. The story is about Hugh Glass, it's a true-ish story.
It's a true story that they add some stuff to.
Yeah, a lot of stuff. Because when you love history like I do, I know the story of Hugh Glass, and when I'm watching, I'm like, I don't think it was cold out when he got hurt, and it was in August.
Well, there's a more glaring issue, which is Hugh Glass didn't have a son.
Yeah.
And I mean, we'll get in. I don't want to say the big spoiler, but like it also ends very different than the real Hugh Glass story.
But it still ends really awesomely.
Yeah.
But yeah, the movie is brutal. It's not a movie where, I think it might have been what he did on purpose in filmmaking is you deal with those super intense scenes, and then you have scenes of people just sitting there and thinking about what to do next.
Yeah.
Because it's pretty much in the trailer is he. So they're beaver pelt guys, and they get attacked by Indians, and they go on their boat, and they decide to go on shore. And while they're on shore, Hugh Glass is attacked by a bear, which it might be one of the most intense scenes I've ever seen.
It's so good.
Yeah,
man. Especially because it happens, and you're like, and like one of the most disturbing moments for me is when the bear like gets him on his stomach and stands on his back and bounces. In that way that we've seen bears actually behave.
The icky part for me was when he starts stepping on his head.
Oh yeah,
and I'm like, oh, he's gonna crush it. He's gonna crush it. Ugh.
But so like the bear fights him and like mauls him, and you're like, oh, that was really rough. And the bear goes away, and you're like, oh man, yeah, that was really rough. Like that was really bad.
But then
the bear comes back.
and
it gets worse.
That bear delivered a great performance.
What's great about this scene too is the shots in the trailer, but what the build up to it is, Glass is walking and he hears rattling. He's like, what's that? And then he sees the two cubs run away.
Right.
and you're like, oh fuck. And the way the camera is positioned, where you see the bear on its hind legs and then all of a sudden fall down and like charge him, hits him, roughs him up really bad, and then the camera never cuts. It stays on him, and it follows him moving, and Glass realizes that this bear is going to come back.
Yeah.
And, he grabs his rifle, and as the bear comes in front of him, he just shoots it, and then that bear even, like, rips his throat out.
Yeah.
And he ends up killing it by stabbing it in the throat over and over again. It's pretty intense.
Yeah.
In my audience, they actually laughed when the bear fell on top of him, and I don't think it's because they thought it was funny. I think it's because it was a release.
Well, it's also like... It's like one last thing.
Yeah.
It's like this poor guy, and like that's one more thing where you're just like, oh gosh, like really? Like it's almost too much,
Yep.
So
because my audience did the same thing.
So he gets mauled, and then all of a sudden we're left with him alone versus the cutaways to Tom Hardy going like, "We're not tell you what," and which don't get me wrong, Tom Hardy's really good in that movie. He's
really
a
good,
utter dick, like the worst human being imaginable.
I know,
but I like his explanation for why he's so conked out of his head. You see, he's been almost scalped beforehand. Like it's a good little piece of makeup that just says a lot about it within that one shot of him where you finally see his hair and you're like, holy fuck, this guy's been through some shit.
What you find out he's a weasel is when when the captain offers $70 for anybody who stays behind.
Yeah.
And when the kids say, well, you don't have to have mine, and he's like, well, I'll take it all. And you knew he was going to kill him.
Yeah.
I mean, if you know the story of Hugh Glass. But anyways,
right.
They change it a little bit.
They change it a lot.
Yeah, and it's
like having Fitzgerald kill anyone, because in the real story, Fitzgerald doesn't ever kill anybody. Like he's not that bad of a guy. He's just kind of a weasel.
Yeah, and in the real story too, they thought he was going to die, so they just left him behind.
Right.
Back in those days, it's because didn't he? I want to say in the real story, he forgave him.
He forgives him both. Yeah. So he tracks down Butcher and forgives him, and then I think it takes him a few years to find Fitzgerald and Fitzgerald
he finds him in Nebraska or something.
Yeah, and he's re-enlisted in the military.
Yeah,
and so that's where they sort of pay homage to at the end, where they're like, Fitzgerald ran away, he's going to re-enlist. But in the real version, he finds him in the military, and he's like, oh, you being in the military is punishment enough. Like whatever, I forgive you.
Yeah.
But because Hugh Glass didn't have a son, like. The problem is, so it's interesting, like, for me, I'm watching this movie, and there's all this stuff there's all these dream sequences, and all this stuff about, like, who Hugh Glass really was, and so they're building up this thing where I'm like, shit, like, because I know the real story, I'm like, even with him killing his son, are they going to tell a story where he ends up forgiving this guy and not killing him?
Yeah.
Because if they do that, like, if they can pull that off, this movie's special and important. But it ends up being pretty much a revenge film. But like there's these little bits about that just led me to feel like, oh, this isn't just about him surviving the wilderness. This is also about him maintaining who he is, because you get all these flashbacks of like his wife talking to him, and you get the Indian telling him like, hey, revenge isn't yours and it's not mine either. And especially because at the beginning, like, who you see Hugh Glass to be, Fitzgerald is being a complete jerk and, like, getting up in his face and even picking on his son, and he doesn't ever do anything about it. Like, he's just like, nope. Like, I'm very controlled. I'm going to do my thing. Like, when he really gets angry, like, pissy, like, I'll just have my smart little quip about, like, I'm on the smart end of this rifle, just to sort of threaten him. And so they sort of, the way it ends, they kind of pull both cards out.
Yeah.
Like, they can't not have it be a revenge film because you just killed somebody you made up. Like, you can't have... Once the guy kills his son and also the second favorite character in the movie, you can't have the guy not die.
Yeah, and what's really well done in the film, though, is his son is killed, and when Glass drags himself out of his grave...
Oh, man.
And he's... his leg's broken, and he's trying to get there, and this is how smart of a filmmaker he is, though. The music's kind of intense, and then all of a sudden, when he realizes he sees his dead son, the music stops.
Yeah.
And everything slows down.
Yeah.
And there's that couple beats where it just stays there. And that's someone who understands the craft of filmmaking, where images are way more powerful did the music.
Yeah.
So yeah, those parts of that film I just think are just so great.
When he lets the performance breathe that way.
Oh yeah,
because it is true. Like DiCaprio's really good here.
Oh, he's great.
And when especially man, when he's watching Fitzgerald kill his son, and he's just like, he can't hardly move, but he's like, he is so angry, and he's trying to do whatever he can, and he's just helpless.
Even when Bridger comes back, and he's like,
yeah, right, yeah, he's like desperately trying to tell him,
DiCaprio's great. He deserves to be nominated. He really, and he deserves to win.
Yeah,
because it's the performance that. There's not a lot of talking, but physically and emotionally, I think it's one of the best performances I've seen in a long time.
Yeah,
and it doesn't hold back.
No, and when he meets that other Indian who helps him, that's the part I was going to tell you about at the beginning of the podcast. So, that the Indian helps him, and Glass is about to die because of the infection, and so he builds that little hut for him, and he gives him the steam, and helps him heal. And so when Glass comes out of there, you think, oh, I guess the Indian guy just, he still had something else to do. He had to meet his other tribesmen. And,
oh yeah.
And so, Glass is walking, and spoilers. So he's walking, and he finds the Indian hung.
Yeah.
And on it is written in French. It's saying one less savage or something like that. And the lady next to me is like, oh, the French are back. Like really loud.
The French are coming.
Yeah. And then they just started having this conversation, like her and her significant other.
I don't like the French.
And, at that point, it's actually pretty quiet because he's just trying to get the horse and stuff. And I leaned over and I said, "Can you please just be quiet, please?" And she's like,
"I like French food, though."
Yeah, we all know it's the French.
Do you say quoi?
French bread. French bread.
But, I hate when I have to be that jerk.
Oh, yeah.
But at the same time, it's like, shut up.
No, you had every right to do that.
Yeah, that's why I told, because you wouldn't stop talking. And I want to say, we all know it's the French.
I love the Alamo, but I had a bad Alamo experience with this movie because I was sitting next to a complete and utter jerk who kept using his flashlight on his cell phone and proceeded to talk throughout the movie with his wife.
Oh, I would have put up a order card.
I just was not in the mood to bother with anybody. The waitress was dealing with her own shit that night because there were people who were mixing up their seats and stuff.
Oh, yeah.
So I was just like, they're having a long night. I'm just going to watch the movie. But to get back to the movie really quickly, this is the part where I was bored. Mm-hmm. It is the only part where I was bored. It was like, there's some parts in the middle that I was just like, as a film watcher, I was just like thinking as an editor throughout this entire movie, I'm just like, how much more can we cut? Because I don't know how much. I thought it was 30 minutes too long. Because once we finally at some point in the middle, I thought it just became too full of itself. But then it gets back on track. So I don't know. That's just where I was coming from. Where I was just like, okay, I get that the photography is beautiful, but can we progress a little further or show something a little more dynamic here? Because it feels like we're just showing a lot of shots of walking. But again, that may have just been based on my experience at the Alamo.
To me, I was never bored, even though it was slow. Because to me, it was about him.
It's about
building
his
up his strength and what he needed to do to right or wrong.
Well, and I think that this is as a fan of history and somebody who really likes this period in history. I think this is one of the most accurate and fascinating movies about that time and that sort of American and American Indian West. Because even if you go to A Dances with Wolves or whatever, which is great.
But it romanticizes it a lot. This one doesn't.
Yeah. This movie, you get that sense of the tribal infighting, of things being very close but very far away. Like everyone is on top of each other, but at the same time, he's in the wilderness. He's really alone. Yeah. I love the scene when the Donald Gleason's crew, the captain and his crew, are trying to find their way back without Hugh Glass, who was their scout. And at one point, one of them is down at the bottom of a waterfall, and the other ones are up at the top. And the one guy's like, "Well, I think the map says we're supposed to go this way. I think we just need to keep going up." And the other guy's like, well, I know we should go down that way. And they're like, why don't we you go whatever way you want to go. And like the fact that they're out in the middle of nowhere and they literally have no clue what they're doing. And they're helpless. Yeah. And he's very similarly, like, he knows more than most, but at the same time, he's still kind of like, he just wanders for a long time.
I got to give it up to the Fox for putting that movie out, because that's a movie that just doesn't seem like it would play to a big audience. Our audience was sold out.
Oh yeah.
Everybody came. I was just like, there's something special about this movie. And again, I have to go watch it again because I think I just had a bad experience.
Yeah. Well, I think it's like an indie film with a big budget.
Yeah.
Like, it's sort of a quiet little movie, and then it's got like these big expensive shots in it, which I think are well worth it.
It was funny, the guys next to me, I don't know, like 18, 19-year-old kids, and at the end where Glass catches up with Fitzgerald, and they have that badass fight on the riverbank, and Glass takes his tomahawk and hits him in the hand and chops off like 3 of his fingers.
Man.
Oh, yeah.
The kid next to me went, and like covered his eyes and stuff. What's cool though is the movie doesn't linger on it. Happened, and it's a fight to the death.
Makes it more effective because you're wondering, like, how's he fighting with just like one finger?
It is so brutal, like, it's relentless. Like, that fight scene is, like, he can get his fingers chopped off, and we move on to the next thing because he's still got a knife and gonna kill our hero.
It's
like,
live or die. Yeah.
Right. Like, that whole scene is just so brutal.
And then at the end he just lets him go down the river.
Yeah.
Yep.
And that's the thing. It's like that ending to me is, it's not emotionally as impactful as it could be.
Yeah, I agree.
I think there's a lot I can read into the Indians showing up there and what they represent. I think, because there is like him wrestling with who he really is and with some ideas of faith, which is throughout the whole movie. Because you also get like Tom Hardy telling the story about like, my dad found God. It was a squirrel and he killed God. And he ate God.
That monologue was so fucking brilliant.
It's so good.
Oh, the way he delivers it. Oh my god.
That's what I mean. Like, that's why he's so good in the movie, because he's going, he found that squirrel and it was a big fat one and he ate it.
he shot it and he ate it.
He's like,
I met God.
It's his eyes. His eyes are staring off into Will Poulter. Will Poulter, who was in We Are the Millers.
Yeah, he's really good in it.
Really good in it too. Who gets kicked the shit out of by Domhnall Gleeson at one point. You said he was alive, or you said he was dead.
Yeah. But there's so much of that imagery there that like I want to try and dig in and try to figure out what it's doing, but like that ending to me just lacks a little bit of the emotional punch I would have wanted, because it's like, oh, like you have this big fight, so if you finish the fight and he kills him, then it's just a really cool revenge film. And if you don't, then you're really a movie that's trying to say something, but you kind of draw it's like that I don't have to save you Batman thing of like, well, you still kind of kill him.
Yeah, what does he say in Revenge? It's like
revenge is in the hands of the creator.
Yeah, it's in the hands of the creator.
Right.
Just lets him go. And I mean, but because the only thing that makes it unsatisfying is Fitzgerald has that one son of a bitch line. He's like, "You can kill me if you want. Your boy ain't coming back."
Yeah.
Like, oh.
Well, but that's sort of the line that makes him realize, like, oh shit, I don't get anything out of this.
Yeah.
Like,
that's what I mean.
All this does is something to me. Yeah. Like, it's one more thing that happens to me if I kill you.
Yeah, that's what. Yeah, Tom Hardy's so good at that movie.
Yeah.
Kill me. Ain't gonna bring your boy back.
Well, I've got other plans for you.
Oh man, yeah. Sheesh. This is good. I really like it.
Even the scene. Him and Will Poulter are fighting, and he puts the rifle on me, pulls the trigger, and it clicks. Yeah. He's like, next time you point a rifle, make sure it's loaded. All right, grab your stuff. Let's get going. Like he was going to kill him, and then he's like, okay, just grab your stuff and we're going to go.
Yeah,
it's the pauses are really interesting in his performance. I love it.
It's a really interesting performance. He's a really good actor.
Well, I agree.
Too bad he's weird,
especially when he mumbles.
He was half good in Legend.
Yep. Man, what else is there? Dude, and that horse.
Yeah.
Oh,
He totally climbs inside that horse.
my sister's
Tan scene.
my sister's gonna ask me, should I go see the Revenant, and I'm gonna have to be like, no.
Yeah. Because
she will lose her shit if she sees that
It's
scene.
a really long shot of like, you know what he's doing, and you're just like, really?
He's a Han Solo it.
Yeah, he's like pulling out these giant guts. Oh man,
I'm just glad he didn't say, and I thought they smelled bad on the outside.
Right? Yeah. Oh man.
Next week we are seeing Ride Along 2.
Are we really?
No, we're seeing 13 Hours.
Okay.
That's the Benghazi Michael Bay.
Awesome! Yeah.
Have you seen the new TV spot for it?
No.
It literally opens with it's a shot inside a barrel, and someone drops an RPG in it, and the RPG launches, and it follows the RPG. I'm like, wow, this is like a shot in Pearl Harbor, but all right, I'm down.
That's awesome. Oh man.
So yeah,
Michael Bay.
I mean, unless you think of another movie.
Always finds a way to be irreverent. No, I really want to see that. Yeah, like
so
it's either that or
From
Point
the
Break.
director of Pain and Gain.
Yeah, man. Cool.
Yep.
Sounds good.
Yep. Thanks for stopping by, Zach.
Thank you for having me.
It's a good start to the year.
Yep.
Indeed.
Bye.
Bye.
Visit our website, realnerdspodcast.com. You can tweet us at real_nerds. You can email us even, realnerds@gmail.com. Like us on Facebook. Hey, stream us on Stitcher. You want to call us? 720-6nerds5. And download us on iTunes. Just search Real Nerds. Thank you, Joe Kempter, for the wonderful voiceover. And also Spark Mandrill for the wonderful late-night jazz smooth sounds of movies. You can find him on SoundCloud. This has been a Nebulous Visions production.